Vampires had suffered a great deal during the reign of the Black Death. The Black Death surged in the 1300s, all the way until the 1700s. They were drinking contaminated blood. But there was some new blood dawning. Sophia knew. The others smelled it too. It gave them energy to rise again and come forth into a new era.
Your Royal Highness, sir, I came from the chapel as fast as I could, but there is an unholy storm raging in London tonight.
Yes, Thomas, it is a strange storm, and there is a full moon as well. Thank you for coming to Norfolk House so quickly.
What is amiss?
It's my son George. He was born tonight, at the stroke of midnight, and he is 2 months premature. The physician says he will not survive. Pray tell, is there anything you can do?
Yes, Your Highness, but there is not a moment to lose. Can you show me to the child?
Follow me.
Your Highness, it is I, Thomas Secker, the Bishop of Oxford. May I offer a blessing over the birth of your child?
Oh, yes, Thomas, it's you, yes. I'm glad you are here, for our new baby George is in great danger, and there is such a strange storm raging tonight. He was born on the stroke of midnight, you see.
He is such a pale child, Thomas.
And he has such piercing dark eyes!
Yes, I can see that. And his skin is so cold to the touch. Has he made any sounds or movements?
No, Thomas, he has not stirred.
This does not bode well. I will read from my book, but I fear he may be lost to us.
Sophia? Is that you? The storm is so strange.
How dare you enter this house? My father, the king, detests you and has banished you from this place. You are not welcome here or anywhere in England. Silence, Frederick. Your son, the future king of England, has been born this night and is in great peril. As we speak, the strength drains from his body. His flesh grows cold. Thomas, your precious Bishop of Oxford, has said it himself. He cannot help you. I, and I alone, Sophia, Queen Consort of Prussia, have the power to save your son. Will you accept my aid?
Do not listen to her, Your Highness, for hers is a dark magic.
The time is growing short, Frederick. Your son grows ever weaker. By the dawn he will be gone.
Frederick, please, we must save our son. Beware of this business, Frederick.
There is wickedness in the air. It is not natural.
Silence. You have no other choice, Frederick, Prince of Wales. No other medicine or magic can help you now. You must accept my help, or all will be lost to you. I can grant young George life, a life that will never end. Is it true? I have heard it said, but never imagined. So strange, so strange. Everlasting life. My son, the king? Very well, very well. Do what you must, Sophia. Save my son this night. As a young boy, George did not have many playmates. He was a temperamental lad and had trouble keeping his emotions in check. He also had a terrible time holding on to dance partners. His aunt, the Queen of Prussia, took a special interest in his education. George had a finicky appetite. Some might say, a meat tooth. And when it came to managing George, his father definitely did not know best. I normally pay no attention to my grandchildren, George. To be honest, I hardly even know their names. I've rarely even gotten them birthday presents, come to think of it. But, I've taken an interest in you, lad. I elevated you to Prince of Wales, did I not? You did, Your Highness. And I've allowed you to pursue your frivolous interests in chemistry, and physics, and astronomy, mathematics, French, Latin, history, music, geography, commerce, agriculture, and constitutional law, along with sporting and social accomplishments such as dancing, fencing, and riding at my own expense, have I not? You have, Your Highness. Do you know how much equestrian tutoring bills are? I have literally spent a king's ransom. And now, it is time for you to repay the gifts I have given you by marrying Duchess Sophie Caroline Marie of Brunswick Wolfenbüttel. Please, no, Your Highness, I cannot, for my heart is pledged to Lady Sarah Lennox. I've advised you against that match, George, and now you must heed the will of the king. Ah, I am born for the happiness or misery of a great nation, and consequently must often act contrary to my passions. You are my heir, George, and may one day ascend to the throne, but I have other grandchildren. If you will not obey my command, I will expel you from England forever and find someone else to succeed me as king. Sophia? Is that you? Who are you to give orders, puppet king? The world is changing. Your strength is dwindling. Your blood turns poisonous. Your reign is at an end. But I am king. Silence. Do not heed his words, George. No man has authority over you. No mortal can restrict your ambition. Whatever you want is yours. There is a new world waiting to be conquered. Come, my child, embrace your destiny. Topple the king. Seize the crown. Take your rightful spot on the throne of England. And so it was that George, at the age of 22, succeeded to the throne when his grandfather, George II, died mysteriously on the 25th of October, 1760, 2 weeks before his 77th birthday, of a strange blood disease called porphyria. Born and educated in this country, I glory in the name of Britain.
Meanwhile, in the colonies were thriving, making the New World their own home, not affected by the new king. That was until the new taxes.
When George came to power, England was embroiled in a number of costly foreign wars. England won the 7-Year War in 1763, and they expelled their French and Spanish rivals from the New World. However, the war had plunged the British government into debt, so George and the British Parliament enacted a series of measures to increase tax revenue from the colonies and to fund George's plan for world vampire domination. The English Navigation Acts were a series of laws that kept the colonists from trading with other non-vampire nations like the Netherlands and France. The Royal Proclamation of 1763 placed a boundary on western expansion and kept colonists from settling in new territories that George wanted to safeguard for vampires. There was the Sugar Act in 1764, which placed a levy on sugar. The Stamp Act in 1765, which levied a stamp duty on every document in the British colonies in North America. And there were the Townshend Acts that put duties on imports like glass, lead, paper, oil, and most importantly, tea. All of these acts caused great resentment in the colonies and were met with great resistance.
The king sent his troops to keep the colonists in line, to make sure they would pay their taxes. But the colonists fought back. There was much blood shed on both sides. Meanwhile, back in England, King George relaxed in a life full of luxury. All was well until Sophia came back with news from the New World that the colonists were revolting against the vampire legions. The king let it be known that he was going to the New World himself to take care of business.